So today I want to speak about power, right? And I want to speak about the understanding of just who we are genuinely as people, I should say. Understanding your brain, the breakdown of how your brain works, right? Understanding your particular wiring. Everyone on this planet, neural pathways and everything pertaining towards the brain is unique to each individual. We all carry certain attributes and traits and archetypes in us that the next person needs when in alignment and on the correct pathway, right? So if you happen to meet someone on the same frequency range level as you both are sharing data and information consciously and subconsciously, depending on what level you are even at in your journey, right? So depending on how you have day-to-day conversations with different individuals, the type of things that you speak and talk about, and how it kind of correlates into your world and your life, right? Your outer world experience through the conversations and the connections that you have as well. I'm learning that it's about truly understanding how you control your full it's not even a matrix. Like, you want to get past the point of even embodying your spirit inside of the matrix, right? Because to understand you is to understand your being of where you come from, right? And me individually of myself, I know that I'm someone who very powerful, high ranking. I am one to have even did create. I am one of the original creators, right? One, honestly. And in this, I've learned a lot about myself. I am continuing to learn a lot about myself and about this world, about the brain, about how the brain corresponds to the spiritual sides and perspective of things, and how the divine masculine and feminine components make up and break down each other in different ways, right? So it's like, through certain experiences, right, that you may personally be having in your sacred experience of your journey, right? We are all shielded with these bubbles around us of an inner layer of your own world, right? And we step outside of these bubbles to then embrace and study and see the world, right? And then go back into our version of our world, right? Because the only way that we can master our own world is to visit others and then retract back into self, so that way you can fully expand yourself as well. In all of this is understanding about the automatic negative thinking and the automatic positive thinking, and how it's like a balance that must be kept in between the both, right? So in the past of the negative thinking, in the mix of the negative thinking is not something that can necessarily be fully controlled. The reason why it cannot be fully controlled is because of the outer experiences. Okay, so in the mix of me explaining about how negative thoughts are not necessarily something that can be all the way controlled, right? And the reason my confirmation of this is, as I'm saying it, I got an ant slightly bit me, right? And then I noticed how another ant was crawling on me. So in me swiping the ant off of me, but also realizing that I didn't really, it's like I didn't get bit, but it was more of like an alarm, right? So it's like the negative pattern thinking, and that would have been that I could have got annoyed at the fact that my attention span had got taken off of me kind of teaching, and I could have took it there. But I realized that the symbolism of the ant biting or getting my attention in that form was for me to correlate to something going on inside of my home, meaning that I had to attend to something just very briefly, quickly, and check in on something. So, and this is like coming back to this version, which is a full version of myself as well. But in this life experience, we're always being taken out of versions, out of the whole version of ourselves, because the whole version of ourselves knows, it has an inner knowing. So it doesn't, of course, it's no need to fully be present all the time because it has an inner knowing. It's the other parts that has to have a full wholeness as well through life experience, that has to come to a full agreement as well of, okay, I know this too now, and so in these perspectives, and again, when it comes to the mental space of ourselves and how we respond to things and how we react to outside things around us, it's so many different things that plays parts in this, right? We forget a lot about the energies that kind of seep and try to mimic different versions of ourselves. The energy that seeps through the towers, the energy that seeps through your telephone, your TV. I'm sitting next to three satellite dishes, so it's like in all of this, it's understanding the amount of technology that's around you and what the frequency of the technology is holding, right? So if you're occupying a certain space, and it's like we are used to being at a certain level of being suppressed within our subconscious, meaning that we're just now getting to a time zone of genuinely understanding and learning about the subconscious, understanding truly from it's like wave groups, right? So it's like you have these different wave groups that has a combination of different information that gets pushed out, and then when new wave groups come, they take on the information but also know that they have information of their own to give out as well. So in this, it becomes a period of extracting and understanding data in order to then reflect out and give it a new updated system, right? So in all of this as well, again, it's always staying in reminder of the things that are being pushed out to change our frequencies, to make us kind of think negatively. So it's like in the mix of a negative automatic thinking programming mind like that a person could have, and them switching to change their automatic negative thinking to neutral and positive thinking. Neutral meaning that yes, the negative thought comes, but I have to neutralize it out to become positive. So it's like looking at it in a form of like thoughts can become like matter if densified enough, right? So in this, it's like as the thoughts are trying to form, but then breaking up through the neutralization from it being negative, turning into a neutral state, going from neutral to then positive. This is a whole chain reaction effect that takes effect inside of the body, inside of the mind, inside of the mental. So depending on a person's universe and where they live in their time clock for their universe, because we all are aligned in certain star systems, and we are aligned in a certain placement in an area. So in that area, it comes with a certain time frequency that must be in alignment in order for everything in the outside of that person and on the inside of this person as well, in order for things to flow and work out properly. You have to be in alignment with your soul destined, journey. It's like you have to stand firm in that and know that things try to conquer through anything, but knowing that we as people are learning, and we are grasping the full concepts of this life journey, even in the scatteredness of our brains, even in the scatteredness of us trying to find understanding in ourselves and who we are, and even on a form of accountability level, like our ability to take accountability for our subconscious negative thinking is not in a way that we have to shame ourselves or bring about upon doubt or even blame, right? Because as we begin to grow and know certain things, we are expanding our minds and we are flowing with the pathway of installment into our body, mind, and spirit, so that we can then walk, become it, and teach it, right? So it's like in the process of becoming the teacher, you're still, of course, always the student. And in this, it's like we have to take the backseat at times and just really like analyze life and what is truly showing us on so many different levels, you know. And when it comes to the feminine and the masculine component, it's truly understanding where we are uniquely different at, right? So we are so uniquely different to the point where like we have to hold space for each other in this, of us coming from different journeys and walks of life. Is being able to slow down and really take the time to understand a person, right? And understand a person's storyline and actually learn empathicness through a person's storyline. Like learn different versions of being able to be empathic. Like, you know, it's kind of like, as I say with the counselor perspective, it's like if the counselor is going through so many different things, or the teacher is going through so many different things, all the teacher can do is teach, right? The teacher doesn't, and this goes to even school systems and stuff, the teachers don't have time to be patient with the students and teach them from a more grounded, calmer space, because they are experiencing their own outer life experience, and not their subconscious as teachers are kind of somewhat taking it out on the students, because it's a gray space of feeling that the students can they're still going to learn the information. Well, you're still going to get an A, right? But it's like not aware of what it's like not being aware of what the mentalness is, like what it's doing mentally in the process of helping them get that A, you know. It's like it still comes with a form of something that will be imprinted and blueprinted within the mental space, but also as well through the journey of a person being able to rise in themselves and rise in their power, they begin to gain strength in areas where they know it may have been injustice, but finding comfort and peace in areas where you still know that you gain wisdom through an experience, you know. And so, and that's a form of a peace of mind. But as a race, as people, as us being individuals and moving more into alignment with each other, I want us to get to a space where we are not necessarily missing in those gray areas. There's no need to miss there, right? And when I say this, is just being able to be more calm, being able to do what's necessary and needed as the teacher, in the teacher's form, to properly be able to teach and exude the information out properly without like necessarily bleeding onto the students, right? And the students have to learn to not bleed onto the teachers through their experience of their frustration of needing and wanting to learn it at a very quick and rapid pace as well. And also through them just trying, their frustration of their version of being the student, what it feels like to be the student, you know. That's not always like, I guess it depends on your mindset of how you look at it, but it depends on what we are necessarily attracting as a student and teacher metaphoric, like, you know, symbolism in what we're doing. Understanding that we are rising, and we have to generally pay attention to all details of life and what life is teaching us humbleness as well in so many different areas and walks and journeys, accountability as well, like true accountability, you know, when we know when our subconscious is telling us certain things that make us feel discomfort, and then at times we kind of want to then kind of lash out in effect, like kind of outwardly project the energy back out at something or someone, because we're just it's a discomfort in seeing yourself and being able to hold yourself accountable in certain spaces, in depths as well, especially when it comes to a certain timeline of having a negative or bad experience in your world, as far as like who you became and no longer are, or trying not to be no more. So in all of this is holding the true space to give yourself the gratitude and the grace of growing, of expanding, and also continuing to hold yourself accountable for what's necessarily done, being able to hold space for others' truth as well, hold space for others' walk in their journey of life, in their season of how they are trying to expand and learn as well, to the in-depths of what they can only know, because it's like we're all going to get there eventually, and we're not here to judge each other's journey of us getting there and how we get there. It's bigger than us, and it's us at the same time, you know. And in the in-betweenness of us learning who we truly are, in betweenness of us having a better understanding of the shadow side, of the shadow self, what made the shadow appear, what the in-depth of the shadow is, and how it needs to be molded and orchestrated in a way of like sound, of like a frequency sound that's beautiful, you know, that's harmonious, that harmonizes with the earth rhythm, with the rhythm, with the skies, with the heavens, with the fifth dimension is what I mean to say, with the fifth dimension. So it's like being able to merge that shadow in the fifth dimension as well, being able to rise that shadow and rise yourself as a whole, as a unity.